I'm just going to take a few minutes now to give you a context of the work that Haberdashers do with schools. For some of you will be less familiar with all the other school groups. Some of you will be less familiar with our direct work. So in terms of contextualising how Haberdashers works with schools in 2023, I thought a little bit of background information would be useful to you. I've chosen this brand new photograph to illustrate what we do. Richard Glover previously referred to our Year 6 Day. Those of you who come from our primary schools, I hope will recognise some faces that are part of this image. We've got on the screen you can see the pupil leaders from all the primary schools in Haberdasher family of schools this autumn. They all came together at the hall and we had our very first primary leadership event. They worked on a programme of workshops based around the 5 senses. I think you can tell from their faces they had a lot of fun. The staff who came with them had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. I think it was definitely my favourite event that I've done with any of our schools thus far in the 2 years I've been here. But obviously, if you all have a lot of fun today, we might have to change that. So Haberdashers and schools. I'm going to now show you what that looks like. So for those of you who are less familiar, there are fundamentally 4 hubs of our schools today in 2023. They're on this screen illustrated fundamentally in order of their foundation for very, very different groups of schools. I often describe our schools by saying, if you were to try and have one of every type of school in a group of schools, this is exactly how you would do it. So the Monmouth schools were originally founded in the 17th century. A girls' school came later. That's an independent boarding school group with a prep school in South Wales. Haberdashers West Midlands Trust, founded in the 17th century with Adams Grammar School. That's now 3 schools, very recently become 3 schools. Adams Grammar, which is a state grammar boarding school for boys up to 6th form, soon to become co-educational. And Abraham Darby, which is an academy all through comprehensive school in Telford, and very recently affiliated by a independent prep school, which is also in Newport, where Abraham Darby is, which has just literally joined us within the last few weeks. And then Haberdashers Elstree, originally part of the Hoxton Foundation, which subsequently split into the Elstree schools, which are independent schools for boys and girls in North London, and our Haberdashers Academy Trust South, the original school of which was Hatcham, and is now 9 schools in South London. So a family of schools with 4 groups in it. When I talk to our young people about this, I refer to them as cousin schools. They're family, they're very different, but they're all linked by the common heritage of being connected with the Haberdashers Company. What that has looked like historically is links through the endowment funds that Susan's already referred to, and also through governance. Today, about 50% of all the governors in all those schools are Haberdashers members. So that has been the long-term link back into the company structure and the overall ethos of the Haberdasher family. Today, they are also linked by the Haberdashers Advantage programme. This is a way in which we seek to structure the work that we do directly with schools. It's broken down into 3 composite programmes. Character, which is a programme for young people and for children in our schools based around the acquisition of soft skills and cultural capital projects. About Futures, which is again a programme for students, which is based on careers and employability. And finally, our Working Together programme, of which today is an example, where we work with professionals from all our schools to collaborate on the development of best practice and innovation. This is, again, a Working Together programme in this occasion, including governors. I'm going to give you a very brief example of some of those programmes, focusing on the character, because that's where we are really building work as we develop our character programme. It's very much aligned with the building resilience theme of this conference. So I'm going to focus on that in terms of where our work has got to in that space, and then just quickly touch on some of the other programmes to give you the context. This is our Year 7s. Some of you will have seen the Master and Wardens in all their regalia, very formal haberdasher occasions. One of the things we do with our Year 7s is to really give them that living history flavour of what is their heritage, how do they connect to the haberdasher history, and who are the other schools in the family. So every one of our Year 7s has a day in Haberdasher Hall in the course of their Year 7 year where they have that experience. That brings 1,500 children a year through this hall, and it's an amazing programme that they all enjoy. The idea is that it establishes a foundation so that through their years at secondary school, they they understand what the Haberdashers Company is. And as new initiatives come up, they have something to contextualise it. And hopefully they have a lot of fun as well. There's a cultural capital programs based around music. We've always had a Musician of the Year competition. Last year we had our very first huge music festival hosted at Elstree schools. This year it's going to be hosted at Hatcham, and this brings all our musicians together from all across the family of schools. Sport has traditionally brought the Haberdashers family together. Tournaments on athletics, on rugby and on netball have been played for years. This year, for the first time, we have a sports festival which brings together not the elite school teams, but general participants from across Year 7 and Year 8, and that's going to be organised by Abraham Darby in October. Very first one this year. And then our leadership and soft skills programme. So again, you've got a picture here of some of our Year 6s doing an exercise where they had to learn to listen and to trust their peers as they were doing one of our workshops. Traditionally, Haberdashers have worked quite a lot with head boys and head girls. What we're aiming to do now is to bring that down to a much wider leadership group. So we've already worked with the Year 6s. I'm in the process of developing a very similar day for Year 12 leaders, which will happen next April. So if any of you have any interesting contacts in the world of leadership education or ideas about what that day could look like, I'd be really glad to hear about it. This is what our Year 6s came up with. We are, at the very end of the day, we asked them to for each of their teams to draw around an outline of one of their team members and fill that outline with what they had learnt during the day. We were delighted with what they came back with. They really came back, they really acquired exactly the kind of understanding of the skills that were involved that we wanted them to get. And I'm delighted to see that teamwork, confidence, listening, respect and communication were coming through as such strong values. Though I did notice the shouting loudly coming through, very small in a corner. That was based on the blindfolding exercise that you saw, where they had to direct each other to come to the right part of the room. Our Futures programme is based on employability and careers. This is an example of that. I'm not going to go into lots of detail on this, but fundamentally for Year 12s who are interested in particular areas of work, we bring together professionals, work with professional partners. In this case, we were working with lawyers. Often we are working with professionals from other sectors. This year, for example, our partnership in the Careers Conference is going to be Bart's Hospital. So young people from our schools who are interested in a career in health or medicine will have a chance both to visit the hospital and spend a day here working with professionals in that sector, so that by the time they finish that 36-hour slot, they really have a good idea of what a medical career could look like. That's the kind of collaborative partnership that I feel really brings our Careers and Futures programs to life. And then working together. This is an example of working together. So we have different groups across all our schools. We have the leadership group, which is heads, CEOs, principals of our schools who meet together to look at innovation and leadership and good practice. We have professional, which are the working groups that put together some of our events like the sports tournaments and the music events. We have partnerships and innovation, where, like our work with the Maudsley today, we are working with external partners to bring together that outside expertise into the world of education. And we have continuous professional development, where we are beginning to collaborate as a group of schools. And the example of this is a course which has been run by our South London Trust HATS on leadership development, which has included leaders from all of our schools. So that's really been a new development in terms of collaborating on how we can all learn together in practice. We're looking to see if we can do more in that area around early careers teachers training, for example. So finally, what does this all mean to you? We want our governors to help us make students and staff aware that we are one community of schools. So your thoughts about how to do that better will be very welcome. We're really keen, as Susan told you, to build links with local communities to tie together schools' charitable and volunteering activity with the right charities in their local area. Again, you're the local experts. You know how perhaps this could be done best. We want, in general, to work together to look at best practice and innovate. You may have great contacts out there in the world of business who you think could offer really interesting insights for education. And finally, we're building our character education programme. And we are learners in this space. We haven't put together character education and leadership skills education together before. I'm consulting with our schools about how to do this. Some of you are experts. Some of you already offered your help with this project. So if you have any thoughts in that particular area, again, we're really glad to hear from you.